What is going on, guys? It's Raul here. We're going to be doing another disc review for you guys. We're going to be comparing it with a few other discs. The new MD5 from Discmania, old stiff metal flake Gator, which is essentially the old MD5. Parker Welk's MX1, shout out Parker Welk. Absolutely insane weekend, HB local, super proud of him. Absolutely tore it up at DDO. So we're gonna be comparing these three discs. I know how overstable this Gator is because I used to throw it. This MX1 kind of pops in and out of my bag. And then now we're gonna compare it with the new MD5 and see how overstable it is, see if it holds up in the wind. So we're gonna start her off, throw the MD5 on just kind of a stock angle, so just a little bit of hyzer, and see how far she wants to push straight, or if it wants to just get left and dump out. Okay, that was pretty nice. That had a lot of forward push, never even got close to flipping over or anything, but had a lot of forward push and then just slowly faded out and got a nice little skip there. Now we're gonna go with my old metal flake Gator, which is a bit used, so it might fly a little bit straighter than new, but it still has some good integrity, I know that. Okay, so yeah, that flew a little bit straighter and then had more of a subtle fade at the end. I think probably new, it would have been a little bit more overstable, but kind of a similar flight out of those two. All right, Parker Welk MX1, see how she compares. Yeah, definitely a little bit shorter out of that one. It's a little more concave on the rim, has a bigger bead, so it definitely wanted to get down faster and kind of get left. All right, guys, so in order from shortest to furthest, we had the MX1 coming up shortest, then the new MD5, and then the old Gator. So it's possible that this pushed the furthest just because it's a bit more beat in than these two and a little bit older, so it kind of has that straighter flight and then finished left. They all had kind of a similar fade, so they were in kind of a straight line about 20 feet, 25 feet from each other, so not that big of a difference. This Gator, for me, it's just not too comfortable in my hand anymore. I don't really like throwing mid-ranges with a big bead, so I like it for forehand, but it's not the most comfortable backhand, so that's why I'm kind of leaning towards this new one a little bit more. All right, we're throwing into the headwind now. We're gonna try to just throw it flat and see how they hold up into the headwind. All right, so I ended up releasing that just on a touch of hyzers, you know, push straight and then hyzered out left. So we're gonna try to get these ones flat and just see how they compare. Yeah, that was better. I got that Gator flat, it just stayed straight and then faded out. I actually had a pretty similar flight though. All right, now the MX1. Gave that thing a good rip. Actually did come out pretty flat, but started fading out way sooner. All right, found a little Tpad. Okay, so those were pretty much all thrown flat. Maybe the MD5, a little bit of hyzer, but pretty similar angles. The Gator definitely went the straightest and then faded out left, whereas the MD5 pushed straight, but then kind of slowly had a fade at the end. And then the MX1 pretty much right out of the hand, wanted to just get left even while thrown hard and flat. So definitely kind of have their own slots. I do really enjoy how the MD5 feels in hand. And yeah, now we're gonna throw them on anhyzer and see how long they hold over and when they're gonna flex out. All right, so MD5, gonna try to throw it. We have a right to left wind, so gonna try to throw it on a touch of anhyzer and try to just get it to hold for a while. See when she fades out. Ooh, I really like that flight. So I threw it low with a good amount of angle, and it was slowly just pushing to the right the whole time. And then towards the end of the flight, just kind of faded out and got a skip left. So it's definitely overstable still. I think it's going to be a good slot. It kind of shot that flex line well. It didn't fade out too fast, but it also didn't burn over, so that was good. I'll try the same thing with the Gator now. I think this is going to hold over for most of the flight. Yeah, so I put that one a little bit higher and not as much angle as the MD5, and it still held for way more than the MD5. So it kind of held over to the right slowly, and then slowly fade out and just kind of sat, whereas the MD5 held over and then faded out and still had the energy to skip back left. So I definitely say this new MD5 is a little bit more stable. That Gator is a little bit older though, so it could just be beat in. Now we're gonna go with the MX1. I'm gonna try to give this thing as close as I can to the MD5 because this thing's stable. Oh yeah, so that was exactly the line that I hit with the MD5. Low and turned over, but it definitely wanted to come back a little bit earlier and get that skip left. So I think that and the MD5 handled that low anhyzer shot really well. I threw the Gator a little bit higher and not as much turn, and it still held over. So I think if I threw the Gator low, then it probably would have burned over in the ground, and maybe that was my mind telling me that it was gonna do that. But yeah, I mean, the MD5 definitely has a really good flight and good integrity too. All right guys, so that was the backhand. The Gator went the furthest, then the MX1 and the MD5. I think I probably threw the MX1 the hardest just because I know in my head it's the most overstable, but yeah, I mean, the MD5 is surprisingly really overstable and kind of just wants to get to the ground, but I like that, and I like how it's beadless, so I'm enjoying it so far. So we're gonna throw some forehands. I'm gonna try to throw it to that tree. We got a right to left wind, so I'm gonna hang it out left, throw them all on a touch of hyzer and see how they react. We'll go with this MD5 first. Feels pretty good in the hand for forehand. It's nice and flat, which I like for forehand, and then has a little bit of give so I can kind of get my thumb really in there. See how she flies though. Oh, that's beefy. I kind of threw that on a lot of hyzer, but still, I thought it would maybe flip up. We kind of have a head right to left wind, so I was expecting that to flip up a little bit, but it really just wanted to get to the ground. Let's try the Gator now. The Gator will probably have closer to a flight that I was expecting out of the MD5. Oh yeah, there's that flip up and ride and slow glide off to the right. So, I mean, if you're looking for that, then I don't know, maybe something like that will be a little bit better, but if you're looking for that reliable overstability, that MD5 is real nice. I'll try this MX1. I think this will be closer to the MD5 as this thing's pretty beef. Just threw it high and a lot of hyzer, but I mean, it didn't want to flip up at all. It just started going right and never deviated from that. So I'd say the MD5 and the MX1 are a little bit closer in stabilities and the torque resistance, and then the Gator just wanted to push a little bit straighter. All right guys, so final thoughts. MD5, I'm really enjoying it. I like how it has a little bit of give, but it's not super gummy. I like how it's not beaded, especially for my backhand. I'm not a big fan of beaded mid-ranges, so that feels really good in hand. And then I definitely like how overstable it is. I think it's got a good overstability, but not super overstable like a Mutant or something like that. That's just too beef to even throw. I didn't range any of them, but I'd say I probably got them out to like, I don't know, 290 to 300-ish for this one. It definitely handles torque well, never really wants to flip up on hyzer, flat, goes straight, and then pushes off to the left, and then on anhyzer we'll hold it for a little bit, but then fade out pretty quick. Compared to the Gator definitely wanted to push the straightest out of these three. This is older and a little bit beat in, so I wouldn't say this is a good direct comparison to what the old MD5s were, just because this probably does fly straighter than those old MD5s new especially. But yeah, I'd say this is probably a pretty similar flight I never threw the old MD5s new, so I can't really give you a good comparison, but it's definitely got plenty of overstability. Never wanted to flip up into the headwind, so always had some good integrity in the headwind, so I think it's going to be a good headwind fighter. And then just compared to the MX1 for all you Prodigy throwers and Parker Welk fans, the MX1 is probably a little bit more stable. It's got a big bead and is a little bit stiffer. So if you're looking for something just slightly more overstable, like you can throw and right out of the hand, it's gonna be going left, or forehand, you get a big skip, or you're wanting a big skip, then I think the MX1 is good and probably a little bit more overstable than these three. But I will be bagging this for now. I don't know how much I'll throw it just because I'm a Rock X3 guy and tend to get a little more flight out of that. But on those shots that, you know, I have headwind and sometimes the rocks push a little straight, or I just need a little more overstability, I think this will be a good slot, as I don't have something like this in my bag right now. So that's the review. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time.